Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. We're in the shed. We've got the DR in bits. It's all going to get rewired. You have a look just under there, the nice red spring. It's not had a new shock, just refurbed it. Using a video that I watched off YouTube, which I'll stick a link up there somewhere to the video because I haven't filmed it, but I used exactly the same method and then just repainted the spring, put it all back together. Fingers crossed it's working because it was leaking and well, it just weren't working at all. So when I took the spring off and compressed the shock, it wasn't doing anything, it was just staying shut, and they opened it. Anyway, it's working a bit better now. I'll put a little bit of a video. But the purpose for this video is I'm going to show you how I got my rim, which should be gold, but it's all grotty. I mean, it has had a bit of Scotch Brite on it as well, but it's not very gold anymore. So the method I've used, which is no way perfect, it's just a method that I've used to get my wheel rim from that to this, which is not perfect, but it's a million times better. Nice and shiny. How long it'll last, I don't know. These are straws. If I can get one off. As you can see, take the straw off, it's protected any of the spoke, and then we'll slot it on this new one. So these are like, well, they're not McDonald's straws because this is awkward to do with one on YouTube. Right, I'm going to place the camera down, hopefully you can see this. But yeah, this is the method. You just get half a straw. This is a Subway straw, cut in half, and you slide it over and then shove it down, and there we go. It protects all the spokes. So yeah, like I said, this is just my method. I've masked it off, peel some of this masking away. There you go. So there's no transfer of paint onto the, there might be little bits here and there. But pretty good job that to me. So I'm going to get on with prepping this next wheel. Like I said, I've just masked it, all I've done, not deflated the tyre. I've just masked it off best I can. All the way around. Use the straws to protect the spokes. Masked up the valve. And I'm just going to spray it using, this is the self-etch primer. It's all E-Tech. Got this off eBay. Weren't the cheapest, but I don't want to use the cheapest paint. And I've had it stood, or will have it stood, in some warm water. That's the gold. Same again, all the same make, Drift Gold, and it's E-Tech alloy wheel paint. And that again, E-Tech alloy wheel lacquer, and that's warm water, so they'll sit in there until I'm ready to use them. Give them a good shake, and then we'll start applying some paint. I'd say it's not perfect. Look, I'm just working in my shed, so it's not a dust-free warm area, so you know they're not going to be perfect. Yeah, so I'll get on with preparing this other wheel, and then we'll get on with painting it. Get a bit of the primer down, leave it to dry, and then we'll get a top coat on. One little tiny run there, I don't know if you can see it. I think that's lacquer though. 3 coats of lacquer, 3 coats of everything it's had. 3 coats of primer, 3 coats of paint, 3 coats of lacquer. And I think it's a million times better than what they were. I'll get on with prepping this next wheel and then I'll get back to you when I'm putting some paint on it. Right, YouTube, let's start getting some paint on. Starting with the primer. And obviously I'm not preaching to anybody who knows what they're doing, or, you know, this is just my way of doing it. And if you've never done any painting with a spray can before, make sure, like I said, spin in the water to warm them up. You give it a good shake for a couple of minutes, and your first layer, it's nothing really. Just get a little bit of it on. That's all you need. You don't want any runs. Just enough to still be able to see through it. It don't matter. Turn it round. Oh, won't drop it. All we're doing is getting a bit of a base on it for the rest of the coats to stick to. Try and make sure you have got it covered. But like I said, not too much that you're going to get any runs. And that'll do. That'll do for coat number 1, I think. As you can see a bit, just have a look round it. Some round the valve there. That's it. That'll do. Put your can back in the water. That's it. That's the first coat. Look there, you can still see through a bit. Let that dry now for about 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll put another coat on it. I did have a heat gun, so I was just applying a little bit of heat. The bloody thing's packed up, so we ain't doing that on this wheel. But while that dries, I'll get on with doing some of this wiring. Right, YouTube, time for a second coat. Same again, probably just get a bit more on this time. But again, not going too mad with it. Spin it round. Trying to make sure it's got a good even coat. Put it round. Beauty of the primer is it's good practice coat, and if you do get any imperfections, you can always sand it down a little bit before you apply the top coat. So we'll leave that again now. Another 10-15 minutes. We'll put its final coat of primer on, and then we've got to leave it to dry before we go anywhere near it with the top coat. Last coat now of the primer, guys, and then it'll be left then to dry properly before applying any top coat. There we go. Smooth action, like I said, not preaching to people that have done it before, so people that have never done it want to try it. I'm not constantly keeping the can on, just nice smooth action. And that is primed. And close up. As easy as that. Right, we'll leave that now. Let that thoroughly dry. Might even be tomorrow morning now before that gets the top coat of paint. But I'll be back to you when we do. Bye for now. We're back again, YouTube. Time to get some gold on it. Label's just come off, that's all, because it's been in the hot water, but it's the same paint we were using before. So same again, light layer of gold, nice easy strokes. It's been about 5-6 hours, it's been in front of the radiator, so it should be alright. Let's go. Trying to get it so you can see it's got just a light covering of the gold.
Motion detected in the front yard.
Spatter it out then. It does that, just give it a good shake and spray it somewhere else. Make sure it's well ventilated as well. You don't half stink this paint. Transforming it already, isn't it? That'll do. And not too mad. Turn it round so it leans on that Cleans on the disc a bit better. Right, see you in about 20 minutes for coat number 2. Right YouTube, this is going to be the last coat. I've skipped a coat, it's just the same thing, but it's had its second coat, so this is its third coat. There we go. Get it on a bit thicker this time. Hold the trigger down just a little bit longer, not too much. Right, that's it YouTube. So that's had 3 coats of the etch primer, 3 coats of the top coat, gold. That'll stay there now overnight. Probably not quite 24 hours, maybe about 20 hours. And then we'll start putting some lacquer on it. So I'll be back in a jiffy with some lacquer. Right, we're back now YouTube with some lacquer. It's the morning after. I'm going to get some lacquer down on it. Same again. Build up the layers. 15-minute intervals. Get about 4 layers on it I think. Should do it. Right. Right YouTube, it's time to reveal what the wheel looks like after 3 coats of primer, 3 coats of paint and 4 coats of lacquer. There we go. What a difference that is. And there's one I prepared earlier on the bike. I think I'm really pleased with them results. So let's get it on the bike. There's one little, if you can see it, one little run there. And that's it. Otherwise it's perfect. I mean, don't know how long they'll last. These are new tyres and hopefully I don't get a puncture, because once you start going at it with with tyre levers and stuff, I'm guessing you probably start to chip it off, but for the cheap 20-25 quid, I mean, it's to transform the look of the bike, transform the look of the wheels. So I'll get this on the bike and then we'll go out for a test ride and see what the shock's like.